Hello there YouTube. In today's video I'll be restarting the Balkans, including Asia Minor and Italy and Sicily. Please note that most of the names and borders given in this video are real but not historically accurate, and sadly I can't do voiceover, so I'm sorry for the robotic voice displayed. Anyways, let's begin. So, we begin in Greece. Right now I am currently just filling up the map. This kind of Greece is old boomer Greece. With the Greeks living in Italy and Asia Minor, that's how you can tell that this is pretty old. The Greeks also see instability due to the different dialects and regions in the lands they occupy, and so the Greek council, parliament meet up to decide what to do. With the republic, they decide to split Greece up into a federative republic, with each state seeing some autonomy but still acknowledging that they are a part of Greece. Now for the Arabic people to come in. The Arabs are currently residing in Sicilia. I know Sicily isn't in the Balkans, but they are portrayed in this map, so I'll include them. The people of Sicily are basically an Arabic emirate in Sicily. Maintain relatively fine relations, so war between them most likely wouldn't happen, and along with this I'd consider them both to be allies. Despite religious and linguistic barriers, they still see eye to eye. Now we give the various states in Greece their labels for war purposes, so these states act like those in a loose federation, kind of a forced federation. Each state has their own right to war with other states or foreign states as they please. In particular, the states of Thessaly, Italus and Macedon have the largest foreign ambitions, but in this video, we won't see any Greek state wars. Both Arab people and the Greeks were kind of allied because of their shared hatred for the Romans, a rapidly expanding state, although this video isn't focused on the Romans, so we won't see any expansions in Rome as well. We then move on to add Serbia and the Illyrian Empire. Serbia is a very worked up state, with them really believing that they can conquer whatever land they set their eyes upon. As you can see, there is a land highlighted called Future Serbian lands. These lands are populated with Serbian tribes/chiefdoms that Serbia wants control over. In the near future, Serbia will gain these lands. Now for Illyria. This empire is an extremely incompetent, unstable state, with the rebellious region of Great Illyria populated by Croats being a major pain for the state emperor. And to top it all off, they have ongoing disputes with Greece, Serbia and the FC. The Illyrian government is also extremely unstable. The eventual decline and collapse of the empire will happen in the near future. We then move on to add Bulgaria, the three Dacian principalities and North Macedonia. Bulgaria is extremely unpopular, with them sharing a dispute with basically every single nation they border. The most tensest dispute they share is the one they share with the Dacian principalities. The Riverlands is the name for all disputed lands that they share, is all collectively called. They also share a three-way dispute with Greece and Serbia over North Macedonia, with literally each party claiming to be the natives of the region. I'd say that war between Dacia and Bulgaria is the most likely war to happen as of now, as they both have very tense relations to start off with. We then move on to adding Carantania and TFCS, both of which are Slavic nations. TFCS is the one that shares as dispute with Illyria and Serbia. Meanwhile, Carantania barely takes part in the geopolitics of this region, as they have most of their eyes set on Central Europe. As for Vojvodina, they are really only aligned with Hungary, as the two share close relations with each other. And just like Carantania, they don't really participate that much in Balkan geopolitics and instead focus on Central Europe. As we move on to the border dispute with Dacia and Bulgaria, tensions between them rise, possibly resulting in all-out war between the two. As well as that, the expansionist Bulgarian Tsar has ambitions to fully annex the region. He'll do whatever he can do to get his hands on the Riverlands. Soon after, the Tsar sends an appeal to the three princes of Dacia that requests that Dacia hands over the Riverlands and recognized that it's a part of Bulgaria. The Dacian princes think for a moment. They send a letter back to the Tsar basically telling them to get off my lawn. The Tsar doesn't take this lightly. Some few Wallachian countryside residents notice across the Danube a more common appearance of Bulgarian forces They inform the Prince of Wallachia of this, and Dacia starts to get worried when the Moldavian prince was informed of this as well. Both Wallachia and Moldavia armed their southern borders, ready for war. Transylvania is left out of this because, as of now, they have no border disputes. The Bulgarian Tsar then declares war on the Dacians purely because of this intense border dispute, pretty much shocking all of the Balkans. Much of the southern Dacian border is fortified and armed because of its proximity to the central capital, Bucharest. But the lands in Dobruja are heavily underarmed, which makes for an east invasion point for the Bulgarians. Moving closer, we see the starting occupation zones of the river lands, and also the small arming of the border along Dobruja, with the Dobrujan front being very unbalanced. It's easy to make out that the Bulgarians will see major victories, crossing the Danube into some non-disputed regions as well. This act of crossing/invading non-disputed areas was denounced by the three princes, as it completely defeated the purpose of the war, and it was seen by many as crossing a line, which made Bulgaria lack global support. Dacia doesn't have any central government. Moving up into the northern parts of Dobruja, we begin to see even more Bulgar advances, with them only losing a small bit of land to the Moldavian forces. But overall the Bulgarians see large victories in the region. The Moldavian forces are the first to surrender. In June 12, 730 Common Era, the Moldavian forces withdrew from the lines, and the Bulgarians win against one out of the two principalities they are warring with. All the Bulgarians have to deal with now is the fierce Wallachians, with the Bulgarians being at the border with Transylvania. The Transylvanians still decide not to war with them, with the southern border being very wide river. It would be easy to make out the difficulty the Bulgarians faced whilst trying to cross the river, with the first four attempts at crossing having been failed, with crossing the Danube being a clear challenge for the Bulgarians. They hatched a plan to start a rebellion in Bucharest through Bulgarian propagandists sneaking through from the Moldov-Wallach border, disorganizing the armed forces down south and making Wallachia more vulnerable, with the Wallachian forces being disorganized and confused. This led for the perfect time for the Bulgarians to cross the Danube and siege Bucharest. This siege lasts weeks, but it resulted in Bulgarian victory. The resulting victory gave name to a peace treaty, the Treaty of Bucharest, which ruled that the river lands go to Bulgaria and that the Dacian princes recognize that it is a part of Bulgaria, and that Bulgaria would withdraw its forces from its other occupied lands. Last thing to mention today is Serbia. You'll notice how it's larger than you saw it at the start. This is because the future Serbian lands were annexed by the Serbian king. I'm not going to explain the war scenario because my device won't be able to handle it all. I am on phone. That's the end of today's episode. Thank you very much for watching my very first full video on YouTube. Episode 2 will come out in at least a week, but my schedule isn't promising, so don't quote me on that. Again, thank you. Please subscribe, like other people say. You can always unsub later. Anyway, for now, bye.